Hello, my name is Marta. I am responsible for building the Caristus private website. The site, even though complex, it is simple to navigate. At this point, we are still testing different tools and ways of operating it. The site already exists. It's active, just not fully operational yet. The ones who will be allowed in, of course, the first time you log in, you will watch a video with Tara on camera, explaining you better all the details, including how to upload your own videos, photos and links. All those need to be approved by us before being published. Also, the first time you log in, you will need 4 different passwords. These will be sent to you not via Gmail, but via a phone call. Furthermore, 2 of those passwords will change every week. It also has another degree of security, a visual one based on the identification you have sent to us, but Tara will explain this to you in due time. People often ask me what I think about Azazel as a man. Well, to be honest, this depends on your definition of the word man. Well, I think the way I see him, and I have known him for about 12 years, I think he's not a man. He's a heavenly machine. I think he's merciful.
Hey guys, I told you I'd dig deeper into the Podesta Clinton EpiPen adrenochrome connection. So I wanted to update you with my findings. It seems as though the Clintons were enjoying lots of perks from Mylan, the pharma company who price gouged millions of Americans as they enjoyed the monopoly on EpiPens. You see, Mylan even spent $4 million lobbying for the School Access to Emergency Epinephrine Act, which ensured schools across the country would be buying EpiPens in bulk. Mylan was also scoring political points by teaming up with the Clinton Foundation on an HIV project, whose aim ironically was to lower the prices of medications in developing countries with drug-resistant HIV. The firm also contributed $250,000 to the Clinton Foundation. 6 months ago, with the price of EpiPens soon to hit $600, Joel Johnson, a Mylan lobbyist, hosted a fundraiser for Hillary Clinton in Washington, in which John Podesta attended, her campaign manager. So you see, Hillary was in bed with Mylan Pharmaceuticals and the EpiPen price gouging scheme. But what I'm going to show you next is that there is much more to Mylan and the Clintons than meets the eye. The government, pharma, and Hollywood are all involved. Let me explain. Watchman of the Harvest, and I'll link to his channel in the description, informed me that a mysterious number appears in all the Pixar films. It is called A113, and it's the classroom number at the California Institute of the Arts in Valencia, California, where John Lasseter, Tim Burton, and other famous animators attended. In a strange twist of fate, I myself attended this very school in the late 1980s and walked into this very classroom. It was the year before I went to high school. The room is commemorated in every single Pixar film, hidden as Easter eggs on license plates and other obscure places. I think I was probably destined to expose everything we have on the Toy Story films as they relate to the grooming of children for child trafficking, and also the desensitization of the public to themes of pedophilia. Now here is where things get really creepy. The Monsters Inc. franchise was all about fear. And the 113, remember the A113 is a coded Pixar number, appears in these films as well, the Monsters Inc. franchise. And we know that fear is adrenochrome, and that EpiPens degrade into adrenochrome after expiration when exposed to light and air. So I ask you this question. Why is it that the School Access to Emergency Epinephrine Act was passed by the 113th Congress on 11/13/13 and approved by the Senate on Halloween 10/31/13? This law allowed for all schools in the U.S. to stock EpiPens and administer them to children.
I wanna be loved by you, just you, nobody else but you. I wanna be loved by you, alone. Boop, boop, da-doo. I wanna be kissed by you, just you, nobody else but you. I wanna be kissed by you, alone. Papa, I couldn't aspire to anything higher than feel the desire to make you mine. I wanna be loved by you, just you, nobody else but you. I wanna be loved by you alone. I wanna be loved by you, just you, and nobody else but you. I wanna be loved by you.
See, I don't love you anymore. No, no. To live a lie is a sin. Oh, release me if you don't need me, if you don't want me. Oh, baby, why don't you just let me love again? Oh, let me love again.
Let's go.
The priest organized the passports. He told us which trains to take and how to do this and that. He was like the travel guide. We sat in the train, and then all the carabinieri came by, and it was really exciting. It was night, and we weren't allowed to say anything until we got over the Brenner Pass. Then we immediately cracked open the bottles of wine. We were celebrating that we had got past Brenner. Italy was perfect.
In Rome, the Vatican Secret Service is thought to have played a key role in securing SS men a safe passage to freedom.
One of the most difficult things in the world is to know anything about Vatican intelligence. Now, you can talk all you want to, but I don't think anybody's ever cracked that one. Now, we know that the Vatican was supporting the Latin American countries by willing to send Catholics with visas to help fill their quotas with respect to skilled labor. We knew that that was Vatican policy.
The favorite destination of German fugitives, including SS men on the run, was Santa Maria dell'Anima, the German national church in Rome. Its seminary was run by the Austrian bishop Alois Hudal, now defended by his successors.
He had German nationalist views. His main concern was that Germany should revert to what it was like before the Treaty of Versailles. He dreamt of that. Maybe he did help a few people, but I don't think it was systematic work in any way, at least not according to the files we have here.
In fact, Hudal called Hitler the architect of German greatness and believed Nazism and Catholicism could triumph together. His support for SS war criminals was confirmed by his secretary.
Im Jahr 1947 jetzt, jawohl, musste man ja wohl auch nur eine Weihnachtsfeier machen. Und diese Weihnachtsfeier wurde veranstaltet in der Casa Generalizia der Franziskaner in der Via Sardegna. Und ich weiß, dass der Bischof Hudal aufstand und sagte, ich freue mich heute hier 110 gesuchte Kriegsverbrecher begrüßen zu können. Sie mögen gesucht werden, wo sie wollen. Hier sind sie sicher.
After the war, Rome became a gateway for escapees from all over Europe. The International Red Cross had papers ready for people with no ID.
It was the primary method for so-called displaced persons to get some form of identity papers, which they needed to reach their destination. To get where they wanted to go, they needed some kind of ID. Quite obviously, this method was liable to abuse. It is well known that whenever representatives of the Vatican requested such papers for their charges, then someone would immediately comply with their wishes.
The names of would-be emigrants were seldom checked.
Diese Ausweise wurden ausgestellt, man ging die große spanische Treppe hoch, oben, bisschen rechts, dann kam eine Bibliothek von Rappaport, dann ging man die Treppe hoch. Man musste den Leuten also glauben, was sie sagten. Das war zunächst mal eine Pflicht des internationalen Roten Kreuzes.
According to Hans Mahler, some priests were expert counterfeiters.
Da kann ich Ihnen mal einen kleinen Kursus geben, sagte der Herr Pfarrer zu mir. Und dann hat er mir das gezeigt. Sie kaufen sich erstmal ein Stück Zellophanpapier, ganz durchsichtiges. Dieses Zellophanpapier, das legen Sie jetzt auf diesen Stempel drauf. Sie müssen ein Original haben. Nicht? Nehmen Sie eine ganz feine Feder und nehmen Sie Stempeltusche. Und jetzt zeichnen Sie nach. Wir hatten einen alten venezolanischen Pass, da sind, glaube ich, 5 Leute nach Venezuela auf denselben Namen gefahren nachher. Ja. Weil das ging so schön mit diesem Pass.
But Bishop Hudal wasn't the only priest in Rome orchestrating the escape of SS war criminals. During the war, Catholic priest Krunoslav Draganović had served the fascist regime in Croatia. In post-war Rome, he used his monastery as a base to help Croatian SS men escape. He became the mouthpiece for Ante Pavlic, the Croatian dictator who had backed Hitler and whose whereabouts were now secret. But he too escaped, sailing from Genoa to Argentina in October 1948.
And that was the model trial run of the rat line. In other words, if you could do it for Ante Pavlic, who was a high, what would you call it, high-profile character who was wanted, you could do it for practically anybody else.
Astonishingly, American forces based in Rome used the very same rat line to smuggle out double agents whose lives were in danger.
We were collecting information about the Russians. And in order to do that, we dealt with Russian deserters. We mounted operations into the Russian zone of Austria and so forth. And then we found that we had a number of these people on our hands and we didn't know what to do with them.
The Americans turned to Father Draganović, despite his support of Hitler.
We knew that Draganović could obtain visas through the Vatican somehow. We don't know how he obtained them. And he wanted American money. He charges $1,500, $1,400 to $1,500 in greenbacks, and he would produce visas. Now he made the pretense that they had to be good Catholics and all of that sort of thing. So everybody we sent down the rat line was a good Catholic.
The Americans' use of Draganović's network to smuggle out their own agents compromised the Allied hunt for war criminals.
Draganović and other people could funnel other people down that line because they knew it was perfectly safe. As everybody knows, their whole army of them went down through the rat line.
Among them was Klaus Barbie, the Gestapo chief who was a US agent after the war. The Americans paid Draganović to help Barbie flee to Bolivia. Adolf Eichmann, SS mass murderer, left Rome for Argentina in 1950. His application for a new passport was signed by a Catholic priest. Walter Rauff, the SS colonel who devised the gas vans, escaped to Chile. He sarcastically called himself a state-certified war criminal.
But every one must cost about at least $5,000, $6,000 that we sent down the rat line. In other words, the visa was $1,500, but then you had, the people at the safe house, you had the people at the port. We always had one of the police chiefs at Naples and one in Genoa that we had on the payroll. I'd always ask, where did these people get all this money? Because it took quite a bit of money to do the bribing that we did.
After the war, the Allies seized a lot of Nazi funds. But rumors persist of secret SS accounts, treasure troves, and money laundering. A Swiss inquiry team recently found evidence that high-ranking SS men were transferring large sums of capital long after 1945.
There were financial networks that continued their activities after the war and well into the 1950s, namely movements of what we called fugitive capital. The question is, what actually happened to this money after the war, and what happened to the Nazi officials who were perhaps involved in this business during the war?
The SS also did its utmost to hide away forged currency for future use. In February 1945, a strange sequence of events took place at Lake Toplitz in Salzkammergut.
At 5 in the morning there was a knock at the door, and 2 SS men were standing there, which was really strange for us, because there weren't very many SS men in this area. And then they told us to get the horses ready and travel to the Toplitz Lake. And I said, why? They said that they had to transport something there immediately. There were about 70 or 80 boxes, and an SS man had to accompany every load that the horses carried. Then, with him travelling along on the carriage, we drove to Toplitz Lake and unloaded the boxes, and were told to turn back straight away. They forbade us to watch what they did with the boxes, but I turned around and saw that they sank them in the lake.
Carl, see if you can figure out what's wrong with this thing. It won't crank up and everything seems to be put together, right?
Bill, I'll see you.
Okay, stop back by. Don't worry about your boy now. He's doing good.
It ain't got no gas in it.
You see there, Scooter? Thinks of the simplest things first.